let's wrap this show up with what I feel like is an interesting topic. So, when you're watching these pro days and you get kind of wrapped up into all of these pro days, you stumble on a guy. And this is another thing that I use the combine as, is a tool to uncover and unearth guys that I just didn't have on my radar. I talk about this all the time. You get a 6'3" corner that's 207 pounds out of San Jose State. And he runs a 4.43, and you're like, shit, who the hell is this guy? Well, got some work to do. That's what I use the combine for. All of these guys aren't on my radar. I don't follow college football closely all year long. I'm not a draft guy. I'm not one of these guys that spends 365 days a year focused and fixated on the draft to be ready for when February hits so I could talk about all these guys. I start my process once the NFL season ends. I'm an NFL guy that loves the draft because it's a part of the NFL. So when the combine shows up, I'm looking at the combine to help me, check off boxes of guys that I've already had a chance to take a look at. And I'm also looking for them to help me unearth gems potentially. So in watching some of these pro days, I'm looking to unearth a few gems. And I was watching the Florida Pro Day, and I think I might have just unearthed a gem. Okay, so hear me out on this. His name is Sammis Reyes. Okay, he's a part of the NFL International Program, and I've talked about the NFL International Program. This is a program that the NFL has put together. It's almost taking the place, if you will, of NFL Europe, because that's how guys across the pond used to get the experience that they needed to come over to the NFL and potentially get an opportunity with the team. Now that there is no more NFL Europa, and that's been gone for probably over a decade now, they've got to find ways to get guys from across the pond here into the NFL, because there are talented guys over there as well. And you saw Jordan Mailata, a guy that was a rugby star, come over here a couple of years ago. We remember we all went apeshit over the receiver that the Vikings took, that ultimately converted to tight end. I don't know if he's still with Cincinnati, but at one point he was with Cincinnati. The guy from Germany everybody was calling him the white Randy Moss. He was like 6'4", ran a sub 4.5, I think, at like 230 pounds or whatever. And I never saw him on the football field. But we all got excited about him, and he got drafted, and it was a big story. And a lot of times that's how these types of situations end. But you just never know. You could have the next F.A. Obata. Remember, he was a guy that was in the NFL International Program. Panthers had him on the practice squad. He gets his opportunity. He makes the most of it. And like I talked about, he's parlayed that into another contract now with the Buffalo Bills. So you're hoping that you hit an inside straight with one of these international guys. Jordan Mailata had to play tackle with the Eagles, all kinds of banged up on the offensive line. And at times I thought he showed well. He struggled. He's a young guy. First time really getting extensive action. But, you can't teach 6'8", you can't teach 330, and you can't teach the kind of athletic exploits that he has. And this Sammis Reyes guy came to the United States of America from Chile to play basketball. Tremendous athlete. Was one of the better, young players over in Chile. Decided to bring his talents to the United States of America so that he could play basketball. He came over here on his own. It's not like somebody sent for him or he was scouted and recruited and brought over here. He came over here on his own merit. Played college basketball after going to a JUCO for 2 years at a school. Forgot what school it was. But he got a chance to get into this NFL International Program. And what they do is they take a handful of guys, like 5 to 10 guys every year. They send them to the IMG Academy in Florida, have them work out for, upwards of a month, and get them prepared for an opportunity at a pro day so that scouts can be exposed to them and they can get in front of the right people and have an opportunity for people to lay eyes on them, talk to them, see them work out, measure them, all that good stuff, and maybe have a team take a flyer on them. Or if they don't get drafted at all, they could end up in someone's camp as a developmental project and prospect. So Sammis Reyes comes over from Chile to play basketball. He plays for 2 years, but he worked out at the Florida Pro Day. He's now a tight end prospect in the upcoming 2021 NFL Draft. He's 6'5", 260 pounds. Ran a 4.65 40, okay? And depending on who you talk to, it was a 4.6 flat 40. So somewhere in the 4.6 to 4.65 at 6'5", 260. Jumped a 40-inch vert, 10.5 broad, and I watched him crank out 31 reps of 2.25. The guy is chiseled, of just straight muscle, runs like a deer. And I'm watching this guy catch the football. His hands look natural. And I'm saying to myself, oh shit, we may have us one here, fellas. So what you saying is, we got the next Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates on our hands. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow your roll. As a wise man once said, pump your brakes and drive slow, homie. Drive slow, homie. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, why can't this guy be Mo Alley Cox on steroids? Mo Alley Cox, former VCU basketball player turned NFL tight end. He's a damn good tight end in this league. I like Mo Alley Cox a lot. Okay? And Mo Alley Cox is nowhere near the athlete this kid is. We've seen this happen before. Take a basketballer, turn him into a footballer, and see what this guy can do on the gridiron. Same thing happened with Julius, what was his name from the Denver Broncos? Oh shit, I always forget his name. Julius something. Julius Thomas. Another former basketball player. Take him, turn him into a football player. Same shit happened with Jimmy Graham. Take his ass off the basketball court from the hardwood to the gridiron. I'm not saying he's any of those guys. I'm not saying he's going to have that impact, but am I intrigued? You're damn right. And for a tight end, needy, starving team like Washington, if you're a Washington fan out there, a guy like Sammis Reyes should be on your radar. I don't know where you take a Sammis Reyes at. What is a good spot for him in a draft? When is it okay to take a flyer on a guy with no football experience, with no tape, that's just a workout warrior at this point? When is it okay? You know my mantra, you know my motto. The same way I treat specialists in the draft is the same way I treat guys like Sammis Reyes that's coming from a different sport, that's never played it, but he looks the part, and you want to take a flyer. I always talk about, if you got a guy that's a injury risk, he's a medical risk, high risk guy. If you're talking about a character issue guy and a guy that has some issues off the field, had to transfer from 2 different schools, came from a JUCO, didn't have good grades, and he didn't know how to act at college, and he got into some fights and had to transfer, all this good stuff that we associate with guys with character flaws and issues and red flags. 5th round or later. Specialists, red flags, character issues, and I'm putting guys like Sammis Reyes into that category. Anybody that you're not sure of, 5th round or later, got no problems with it. You don't spend a 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or 1st on any of those types of players. But if you're gonna draft a kicker or a long snapper or a punter or a red flag character guy or an injury guy or one of these international guys that doesn't have any experience, 5th round or later. I don't know if Sammis Reyes is going to get drafted or not. I don't know if teams are now, he's on teams' radar. I can tell you this, Daniel Jeremiah was watching this kid work out and he said, "Who is that?" And I said the exact same thing. I'm watching this kid run and I went to my computer immediately and typed his name in. I'm like, why didn't I see him on tape? When Florida went to 2 tight end sets, why didn't I see Sammis Reyes? That's because his ass didn't go to the University of Florida. That's because he didn't play college football. So I'm like, well, oh shit. We got something here. You guys, I hope all of these teams Washington included. I hope you're paying attention to this shit. He's 6'5", he's 260, 4'6", 4'65", whatever, blazing fast. That's fast as shit for a guy his size. Okay, I talked about tight ends just to put what Kyle Pitts did in perspective and let you know just how fast Kyle Pitts really is. When we're talking tight ends, to be effective in this league don't have to run 4.4. Don't even have to run 4.5. The most effective tight ends in this league are running 4.6, 4.7. So when you get a guy running 4.5, when you get a guy running 4.4, you're like, whoa. George Kittle is a 4.52 guy. Travis Kelce is a 4.65 40 guy. I think 4.58, 4.63, somewhere in there. This guy's right in that neighborhood, right in that wheelhouse as a Travis Kelce. Again, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, he looks the part. All of the physical requirements and the measurables and the athletic characteristics and traits and DNA profiles, he checks every single box. Obviously, he's not going to have the technique you want in a run blocking. He's 31 reps of 2.25. I can teach him how to block. He's a natural athlete. I'm watching him run. He's fluid. He's got natural hands. I'm interested. I'm intrigued. Where do I sign? Even if he's not ready year one, you stick him on your roster, on your practice squad. And again, there's dangers in trying to sneak a guy onto your practice squad, especially when everyone's had a look at this kid, knows there's no tape out there, but they're intrigued. He may be a guy that has to make your team, but again, in today's NFL climate, people might not be as gung-ho to snatch up your stuff. But I don't know. I can just tell you, after watching Washington, I can't speak for anybody else's team out there. After watching Washington's group of tight ends last year, you know, the Tamarick Hemingways and the Marcus Balls of the world, after watching these guys parade on the football field last year for Washington, I'm saying, we can't use a Sammis Reyes, man. I don't know how they feel about Thad Moss. I don't know how they feel about moving someone and converting them to tight end. I don't know what the tight end position looks like. But they didn't do shit in free agency. So they either feel confident about guys already on the roster and some things that they've got in the works, or they feel confident that they're going to be able to solve the lack of depth at tight end and quality, for that matter, at tight end in the draft. I don't know where this kid is going to end up. Somebody's going to draft him, though. I don't think this kid goes undrafted. Not with those measurables, not with the way I watched him run and catch the football. Somebody's going to take a flyer on Sammis Reyes. In a very skimp tight end draft class, he stands out. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.